Well, today we're going to talk about a few questions I saw on Reddit about people that couldn't do 5 push-ups or more. Well, a couple of people really couldn't do any push-ups. There's a study by gymlist.org talking about how most Americans can't do 10 push-ups or more, and a lot of Americans, about a third, can't even do 5 push-ups in a row. Now, there was a study that came out of Harvard in 2019, and they studied about 1,100 male fighter fighters around age 40 and a mean BMI of 28%. And they had them do push-ups for about a minute, try to get them to do at least 40 push-ups. And then they followed them 10 years later, and they found that the firefighters that could do 40 or more push-ups had a 96% less chance of cardiovascular events than ones that could only do 10 push-ups or less. Now, there were some, if you do 11, 12, 13, it's a little better, but it's kind of like on a sliding scale. When you go to the doctor and you're doing a treadmill test, they hook you up with all kinds of cables and connectors. A couple of people in the room, costs a lot of money. And so, good test, cheap test would be at your regular doctor's appointment, and he says, hey, get on the ground and give me 10 push-ups. And so that's kind of like a real cheap way to see what your capacity is and for your future cardiovascular events. All right, so now for me, push-ups, wow, I could only do 8 when I first started. Now I do Mike Israel's full body dumbbell workout, and part of it has a set of push-ups. And so when I first started, I could only do 8. And so I did my 2 warm-up sets and a working set. They were just 8 push-ups. But over time, it got better. I eventually could do 12 push-ups, and then 14, and then 16. And today, when I worked out, I was able to do, for my first warm-up, I could do 18 push-ups. And then for my second warm-up, I did 24. And then my working set for push-ups is 28. So I'm getting close. If you pushed me and I hadn't worked out for that day and you told me to do push-ups, I might be able to get to 35. Now, I can tell you that's more than my kids could do. They kind of look at me like, huh? You can do 30 push-ups? And so I think push-ups are really an underrated exercise. All right, so what can we do to increase our push-up capacity? Well, we're going to strength train for sure. We're going to get a little bit of cardio in. If you're getting those 8,000 steps, it's pretty good for your cardio. And then nutrition, got to have nutrition. Lose some weight. I can tell you, at 270 pounds at my most, I probably couldn't even done 2 push-ups. And so as I continued to lose weight and worked on my strength training, it got better. Today we are at Gig Harbor at the Amchick Waterfront Park. I think I pronounced that right. And kind of a windy October day. Probably hear that I have my new microphone. Finally got a wireless microphone, so I'm not talking directly into the phone. I don't know how it sounds. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out when I go to post-production. But it's a really nice day today. Well, I'm going to say it again, strength training. We must be strength trainers, and especially core. There's a lot of work involved in push-ups in your core. Nutrition and cardio. Remember, weight management is about a triangle. You have nutrition on one side, cardio on the other, and strength training. Anytime you break one of the sides, it's like fire. You take out a side, you have no fire. If you take out one of the sides of the weight management triangle, you're going to have difficulties. So we start strength training and start exploring push-ups. If you can't do a push-up, it's okay. Start with knee ups, or you can do push-ups against the wall. And then you can slowly move to a regular and normal push-up. One thing I like about doing these YouTube videos is I get a ton of steps in. On the days that I film, I'll for sure get 16, 17,000 steps. So there's my cardio +2. And I did strength training today, so it's really hard to hold the camera because I went up in weight on my skull crushers, and my triceps and biceps are killing me today. but this is adding to it. The yoga class that I was going to take, I haven't been to yoga for a couple of weeks, and I could feel that my back was twinging a little bit, and the instructor wasn't there today. So I just did just a small stretching session for about 10 minutes, but I missed the yoga today. That's yoga. It is such a beneficial, I don't know what you would call it, but for class for me, just like an hour of stretching. It's really good. I think many of us think that strength training is just for, elite and people that are already in shape, but that's not true. Strength training is for everybody. We need to have a good amount of muscle in our body so that our bones stay strong and that our metabolism keeps going. One of the benefits of strength training is you build more muscle and your metabolism goes up. Your TDEE goes up, and so you can eat more food. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand is, after a year of strength training, you can probably eat an extra 100 calories a day. Or you can keep the same, and then in your fat loss phase, you don't have to go into such a large deficit. Now, I'll link the 2 studies in the description here. And if you want to, you can go kind of read the details on it. But really, the gist of it is, push-up capacity really relates to your overall strength and your overall health. And so if you're strength training, getting at least 8,000 steps in a day, and you've got good nutrition, your health is going to be in a much better place, and your push-up capacity is going to be in a much better place. And so I'd really like to hear about your push-up routine. If you have one, are you doing push-ups? How many can you do? Are you one of the lucky ones that can do those diamond push-ups or one arms? Man, that'd be great if I could do like one arm push-ups. That's never going to happen. I'm too old for that. All right, well, thanks for walking with me on this push-up journey, and get started. Get down and do some of those push-ups. All right, well, if you like what you see here, I talk about weight management all the time and sprinkle in a little bit of recipes and foods. So like and subscribe, and we'll see you a little bit lighter and a little bit healthier.